Welcome to Spotlight on Chelsea with Leo Robinson. My special guest today is Mimi Grange. We're here to talk about the summer events that are going to take place in Chelsea. I know when you first came into the city, you and I had an opportunity to share some information. I shared about Chelsea Day and how that used to take place downtown, and you shared a lot of the things that you were attempting to do, and some of the feedback from other people in the community was the worry that you were going to turn this into Cambridge or Somerville. And my attitude is we need to start somewhere. And I think the opportunity for the Chelsea night market, which I was able to participate in, I thought was a great night. And I'd like for you to explain some of the events that are going to take place over the summer and some of the feedback that you've gotten from the first night.
Great. Well, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, my role is I'm the downtown coordinator for the city, and along with a couple different buckets of tasks, a big part of it is about doing events in the downtown. And the idea is to really bring people back into the downtown to support the local businesses, use the beautiful parks, appreciate the historic architecture, and really think of this as like the living room for the community. And what's great about the downtown right now is there's lots of locally owned independent businesses, and they rely on people coming and enjoying those businesses. So over the last couple of years, I've done a number of different events, and the night market is definitely the most ambitious one. Wanted to kind of work out a lot of the kinks in terms of we only just got a city stage and a sound system, and worked out how the permitting works and building the relationships with the different systems, because it has been a long time since the city's had big community events. I know that you were responsible for Chelsea Day, and a lot of folks, actually, I just got an email this morning from somebody saying that they really felt like the night market felt like, old Chelsea, and we had done the holiday tree lighting too, and kind of reinvigorated that event as a real place for everybody in the community together. Yeah. So for the night market, that's happening in Luther Place, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Where's Luther Place?" It's on it shows up on the maps, and some folks have been referring to it. It's a nicer name than saying the parking lot behind the old Salvation Army store. Yes. But it's on Cherry Street. It is the parking lot, like out behind Jack's Men's Shop and the Card Gallery, between 4th and 5th Street. And we've been looking at how to really use that space that's got a really nice kind of, it's almost like little arms that kind of hug you back there. It's right in the downtown. It means that we don't have to close down any streets. It has a lot of, it has the access to nearby parking. It's kind of a safe space to be. We've got electricity, access to the nearby businesses. So we kicked off our first one in early June, and there's going to be 4 more of them. They're on Saturday nights once a month, and it's a night market. So all over the world, communities have been having night markets for centuries. There's been a lot of folks doing farmers markets, and I know Chelsea used to have one, and after a bunch of research, I've discovered that wasn't quite viable to bring back here. But this felt a way of kind of leveraging a lot of the nearby businesses. A lot of folks say that they don't feel safe coming into the downtown in the evening, so this is a way of sort of saying, like, let's all come together and we'll make it our own. So we have food vendors, craft vendors, music. For our first night, we had a bunch of circus performers to really kind of flurry. I was a little worried when folks are like, "You remember we had big fires here in Chelsea. Let's not bring that back again." We were doing it very safely. And each month we're going to have something different for people to come out and check out.
Well, I think, to me, it was very impressive. I saw a lot of younger families who I normally don't see come downtown. I think there's a myth that downtown is really not safe. I mean, I'm on Broadway every day, and I'm downtown at nighttime, I'm in the vicinity. And I feel these things should be happening in my community. I shouldn't have to go to another community to enjoy these things. And I understand these are the first steps, and I think one of the things that happens here in our community is we need to get over that's yours, that's mine, that's his. No, it's ours collectively. And the only way for it to grow is if we all come to the table to make it happen collectively, as opposed to, well, that's hers, I don't need to attend, or that's his, I don't need to attend. I think once we can kind of get past that bubble, a lot of good things can happen here in this community.
Yep. Yeah, I was really happy. A lot of the people who are right surrounding where the night market is, you know, not everybody wants a party in their backyard, literally. But so many of the neighbors actually opened up their windows and were leaning out their windows, and those neighbors actually came out to be part of the event. And we're hoping that more and more people from Chelsea will come and kind of make it into a block party, right in their back door.
Well, I think the word is getting out that it was a very good event, that people felt safe. There were, you know, different vendors who were there doing things. You know, Ricky Gordon, who was there and actually had a lot of positive feedback in regards to the event. And we know Ricky could be the guy to hold you to the fire, which,
Yep.
you know, we need people like that in order to make things grow and make it better.
Yeah, I think some folks have had the idea that we should have all the businesses in the downtown come and set up booths there, but the idea actually, because that means then they have to double their staff and be in two places at once. And being able to do kind of a special event like that does mean you have to have sometimes regular special equipment. And even though we're providing the tents and the tables to make it really easy for anybody to come in, it is a little tricky. Our goal is really about getting people to come be attracted to something unusual in the downtown, because these businesses, the brick and mortar ones, are open all the time. If we do something special, might be able to draw people who don't normally come down here, and then they can go and walk around the neighborhood and see other things that they can discover. So we're hoping that we can get some of the retailers to stay open a little later, get some of the nearby restaurants to offer specials, and I talked to a lot of folks that actually did combine it, and they had a little snack at the market, went and had dinner, came back, went and shopped at the nearby businesses, kind of got introduced in a different way to the downtown.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we used to utilize in Chelsea Day was a famous musician who is the #1 musician, does all the stuff at the Children's Hospital.
Different. I thought you were going to say Chick Corea.
Well, Chick, that's a different story. But John Bonaparte, who's a famous musician, and he does all the events at the Children's, and he's done events for Lewis Latimer Society, my brother, and everything. And we used him to walk up and down Broadway before we would get him on the stage, doing
cool.
tricks
Yeah.
and magic, so people would follow him, and they would, you know, come and see the performance and things like that. But there are things out there, and I admire that you're reaching out to these different groups, and, you know, people are realizing that Chelsea is a healthy community, and that there are people here that they can draw on that will come and buy their products.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always looking for like performers, for bands, for vendors. So if folks go to chelseanightmarket.com, they can just send us a suggestion. I'm partnering with Eduardo Chacon from Jukebox Events, who's grew up here in Chelsea, went and was doing events in other communities, and moved back to the city. And he's just like, I really want to give back to my city and kind of connect with young people here. And he's been great to work with. So I know some folks have been meeting with him, and they're sort of, sometimes they don't quite make the connection, but we're full partners in this event.
Oh, okay. I haven't met him, but I would gladly like to meet him and sit down and maybe even do a little spotlight on him.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a regular day job. I don't know how
well.
these young folks have so much energy.
Well, I think, you know, and that's when we don't highlight our young people enough in this community. You know, and it's important that we show that there are kids in this community who have gone on to some of the better schools like Harvard and Dartmouth, and the big graduation. Kids got well over $3 million in scholarships.
Wow.
You know, in his community. Yeah. But you know, I'm doing all these events, and you know, and it's Chick Corea and I have been going back and forth and trying to figure out, you know, if it can ever happen with a concert here, which we're hoping. You know, we still keep the flame going, but he travels so much that he's on the road. But he's going to be in New York doing some teaching over the summer. So him and I are going to communicate a little bit better. I've met with some of his people and to talk about logistics and stuff like that, so.
Wow, yeah, it would be great if we could get him to perform here.
Well, I say it's full circle. You know, he started here, and
Yep.
we'd be nice to be able to come back. His original drummer still lives in the area.
Oh, wow.
Grew up in Chelsea. Lenny Nelson was one of 26 kids. He was the 26th kid.
Lots of babysitters.
Yeah, and he, you know, and he used to critique Chick's work when Chick had to write something for Juilliard and everything, so.
Yeah. What's been great about doing a number of these events is I've been able to build relationships with some of the folks that kind of weren't on the radar for other people here. So, for example, this young street artist called Trippy Landia, who lives here in the city, she has been kind of doing more kind of street murals.
Yeah.
There's a little strip of the back of the Salvation Army in the Luther Place. There's like a little concrete that had just been used for a little bit of graffiti and had lots of vines growing over it. And we're using that a little bit like a kind of temporary canvas and inviting a bunch of different artists to kind of paint sections of it, and it'll be changing over the months. Sinai, who's just graduated, I think he just graduated from Chelsea High, was one of our first muralists, and he did the center section. And it was great sort of seeing on how proud he was. Everybody was sort of saying, like, we're going to be able to say we knew him when, you know? And to kind of use these kind of community events as a stepping stone for folks to try out things and then be able to get that experience and go on elsewhere, too.
Why don't you talk about the pop-up market stuff that you're going to be also doing besides the Saturday night stuff?
Yeah, so there's the regular Saturday night at Chelsea Night Market. I'm working on a project for Division Street, so that's the alleyway on the other side of Broadway. And so the city's going to be repaving it this summer. And it has, a lot of people use it as a cut through, basically going from Stop and Compare out to Chelsea Square. But it's been just looking really grubby and, you know, a lot of broken glass and trash. So we're sort of looking at how can we make it a more inviting space. So I'm working with this group called Neighborways, and they're have a bunch of public artists, and the idea is for us to sort of look at, like, okay, where could public art fit here that could make it more inviting? And then they're going to be at some of the events this summer, eliciting from the community of, like, what might we do? And then the plan is in late August to have a big community event, and we'll actually make our public art ourselves. Sort of similar to how Sylvia Chavez Lopez did the mural on Chelsea Walk. But this one will have the community actually doing a lot more of the painting themselves. We'll be kind of getting it done that weekend. So that's one project I'm working on. We're doing a bunch of pop-up things in Chelsea Square. So I oversaw some of the new landscaping on the section of the park in front of the Apollinaire. We fixed the irrigation system and took out the shrubs. So my idea is to try to do things to bring surprise and delight there. So coming in late July, we're going to have a little bit of a petting zoo that connects you with the library. There's going to be a couple other things kind of coming up. I want to keep them as a surprise. The idea is to sort of do things that people wouldn't expect to see in Chelsea. But again, working with different community groups for them to kind of do something that we don't normally get to see.
Yeah. Well, that's it, yeah. My brother and I do stuff around science and technology, and for the last bunch of years, we've been doing a science festival at the down at the park at Eastern Salt, and we were doing it during the week. We're going to try it on a Saturday. We bring in other people that relate to science and set up all these different stations for people to participate. And we thought we'd try it on a Saturday and maybe get a lot more kids to come and participate to do. So that's something we can be talking about going through.
Yeah, I try to do my events at all kinds of different times of the day. So we have, you know, I did an early morning Tai Chi class in Chelsea, outside City Hall Plaza to sort of draw people out then. I've done some weekday morning things, some evening things, some weekend things. So they all kind of get a different audience. I know that everybody's got different work schedules and home schedules, so try to have something for everybody, whether it's little kids to seniors to 20-somethings, 30-somethings, families.
Well, remember, this is a start.
Yep.
And as we're moving along, we got to now drag people along with us. I always like to say, you know, get off the sidelines and get in the game.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can make things better, if we get more people with knowledge to be able to suggest other things that can actually happen in our community. I know if we can kind of wrap up, if there's something you want to relay or say at the end.
Well, part of, I sort of see my role is kind of creating a framework to help the community plug in. So whether that's Gallery 456, the gallery at the Old Salvation Army, inviting curators, a bunch of the different events with vendors and different artists to participate. I'm really looking at how to create, kind of pull out manageable chunks so that we can all take part in co-creating these activities, and really invite the community to come and participate. I'm incredibly open to ideas. I'm kind of maxed out for this year in terms of how many things are happening, but next year's calendar is wide open, and still have openings within the frameworks for this year to get people involved. I've really appreciated so much of the support of people in the community. It has been growing over, especially this year, and looking forward to doing more of that.
Yeah. Well, great. I'm looking forward to working with you and doing some things over the summer. And actually, it kind of reminded me of the other night I watched something in regards to Teddy Pendergrass, who was a great singer who ended up in a car accident and got kind of paralyzed, and how his comeback, he had to wear a belt around his midsection to be able to sing again.
Wow.
And he was at Farm Aid, I think.
Wow.
And they rolled him out on stage and to sing. And at first he was kind of nervous, and they got him to sing. And at the end, his saying was, reach out and touch somebody's hand to make this world a better place if you can. So that's what we're looking to do here in the city, is to make the city a better place.
Yep.
And I'd like to sign off by Spotlight on Chelsea with Leo Robinson, and thank my special guest, Mimi.
Thank you so much.